Good morning. Welcome to Feast Days, Conversations in Hospitality and the Church. My name is Mark Grabgater, and I am joined this morning with Mark Canlis of Canlis Restaurant in Seattle, Washington. Mark, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks, sir. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Canlis is kind of, for people that don't know, has a reputation, a really wonderful reputation of hospitality. I don't know if it's do you know, is it the longest running restaurant in the U.S.?
No.
It certainly has to be kind of close, right?
We're up there. We're probably up there in the annals of long-running restaurants. But no, we have a couple of spots here in town that are pushing 100 years, which is
wow. Okay.
We're only 75.
You guys 75, 76, right?
75, yeah.
Yeah. Third generation restaurateur. Your grandfather started it in 1950, correct?
Yes.
Food and Wine has labeled you one of the 40 most important restaurants in the U.S. You've won 22 Wine Spectator Grand Awards. You've had 15 James Beard nominations. You've won 3 of those. Last year, Food and Wine surveyed 400 chefs and food writers to rank the importance of restaurants, and you guys were listed as number 2. That's some high praise that you guys have received. Yeah. Well, in my personal my personal experience has been wonderful when I've eaten there, when I've been hosted by you, and just running into you in in an airport as well. But my wife and I came and ate at Canlis several years ago now, when Brady Williams was your chef, and were treated with utmost kindness, and it was really healing experience for us, and we're incredibly grateful for the hospitality that you showed us there. So thank you for that, and thanks for joining me this morning.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Mark. Would you jump into the history of Canlis? Obviously, it's long, but tell me about.
Do you want to do a quick version?
Sure.
For those not, I wouldn't expect anyone to know the history, but my family sort of immigrates here in 1910. My great-grandparents would open a restaurant in Stockton, California, and then they had a son, Peter Canlis, who famously opens this place in 1950, and his son was my father, who ran it after my grandfather passed away. My dad and mom ran it for 30 years, and then I've been doing it for, I don't know, since then, for the last 25 years, 24 years or something. Mm-hmm. 3 generations at Canlis in Seattle, 4 generations if you just think of, families running restaurants, but it's been a family thing for a while now. And last night I got to be on the floor with my son, which is super fun. He's at the restaurant, and this weekend we have a little thing going on in our parking lot, a little World Cup watch party, and I actually got to work with my wife and 3 children for the first time. We were all out there together. So
that's fun.
I don't suspect any of them will end up in the business, but it's fun to spend the summer working together. And
that's awesome. You guys have a mission statement for your restaurant, is that correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tell me what's your mission statement? I think last time we talked, it was changing, but
so a little bit unusual perhaps, but the mission of the restaurant is to inspire people to turn toward one another, and that is the reason that the company exists, or the reason why we pour so much into it at this stage in life, and this generation, and it answers the question of why are we even here, and what's the point, and what are we after today? And so, for me, that concept of turning towards is codified language for hospitality, or a very fast way, I think, to get to what we're really speaking about when we're speaking about hospitality, which is just sort of this act of being present to, or available to, turned towards the other. That could be anyone, really. The other with a capital O, the stranger, the neighbor, or otherness in general, difference in general, I think, as we look at sort of the roots of that word. We really are unbounded, unfettered in understanding sort of what that invitation is. And Canlis is a company that exists to sort of explore the boundaries of that and to see what happens when we put that first. So that's
Yeah.
what.
Has that always been your mission statement, or is that something that you came up with recently?
For as long as I've been doing it, yep. My
Okay.
brother and I came up with those words a number of years ago. I think before that, with my parents, they had different words. But when we took over, we were sort of like, "Hey, mom and dad, isn't it true that this is really what you're getting at?" And they were like, "Yeah, that's the thing." So I think for a couple of generations, this has been what Canlis has been all about. My grandfather, a little bit different, less inspired sort of by that sense and more just by the idea of creating one of the best restaurants in the world. And so it is kind of a tale of a couple different grandfathers, one driven to be great and to sort of make a name for himself. On my mom's side, a grandfather that was all about hospitality and loving others. And so we see today's business as sort of an amalgamation of those two things. And what if we could do both? Or more specifically, what if, because we were really good at taking care of people, it would actually propel our business in a really competitive environment. So restaurants are a little tricky to be in, especially these days. And I think of hospitality as as the best strategy in a competitive environment. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard you say it's Tale of Two Grandfathers. And when we chatted before, you really drew that out. One, Peter, Greek runaway, started the restaurant, moved a few different restaurants around. Tell me the restaurant side of that story.
Yeah. So, on that side of the family, you've got this is now my great grandfather we're talking about. Nicholas Peter Canlis, and he is on Lesbos, and he decides he's going to go, do something with his life, not on a Greek island, and partially swims to Turkey and hitchhikes his way down to a famous hotel called the Mina House Hotel, still there, which is cool. And he gets a job cooking, and Teddy Roosevelt's coming through Egypt at that time in Cairo. He's going to go on like a big safari, and he's kind of provisioning his safari the way you would then. And he hires my grandfather. So he ends up cooking on the safari for like a year and a half. And everyone, or to our knowledge, a lot of those folks end up, I think Roosevelt kind of gave him a free pass. I don't know how it works, did back then or today. But somehow he gets in. So and so anyway, that's how we get here. And then a lot of Greek, and my great grandmother is Lebanese, and so a lot of Greek and Lebanese immigrants ended up in Stockton, California, and they would open a restaurant. So that's the one side of the family. And on my mom's side, just a family that grew up from very humble beginnings in Pensacola, Florida, which back then wasn't quite as cool as it is today. And they grew up in the church. They were the Christian tradition is a big part of their livelihoods, and the way that they were raised, and the way that my mother was raised, and eventually a strong influence on my father in this way. And obviously that sort of legacy had been passed down through us. And so in on the one hand, you have Peter Canlis starting a restaurant. His goal was to make the best restaurant in the world, the most beautiful restaurant in the world, to sort of change the face of fine dining. On the other hand, my mother's dad just wanted to, love the people that came in through his front doors, and he was famous for that. And so I think you have the beginnings of really the gift that was given to us was this sort of dual faceted legacy, one of excellence and precision, and in many ways, Peter was so ahead of his time. And the other in the world of hospitality, which now is kind of blowing up in mainstream ways, which is super exciting to see. But back then, if you weren't paying attention, if you've not done sort of the 100-year American history of dining and fine dining and hospitality, these aren't words that we like. This wasn't on the radar. So in that sense, I think we were just handed this incredible opportunity to do something cool. and something that works right now for the marketplace. So,
Yeah. It feels like you guys were given kind of an outlet to be able to express naturally kind of your Southern grandfather's hospitality that he showed
yeah.
growing up and that you experienced. Is there more to tell on that story, that
I
side
mean,
of
I
it?
think, yeah, we're in Seattle, and I love this town. Um, its critical fault is that it thinks it knows everything. I think it has a lot to learn from the South. I know it's
Hmm.
easy to sort of poke fun of them, and but to be totally honest, there is a warmth and a genuineness that is a piece of that part of our country and those people that I just think is really winning. I think we all crave it. It's relationally forward. It is innately vulnerable.
Hmm.
Vulnerability leads to trust, and we are all drawn to trusting relationships. And so there is something going on there. This big-hearted, open-armed sort of welcome, and it doesn't matter who you are.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter where you came from. Doesn't matter your story or your station. It's this welcome that says, "Come in, sit at the table,
Hmm.
let's break bread together, let's eat together, let's share together." That is a big part of our nation's history. Uh,
Hmm.
Sort of welcoming with open arms. Um, if you ever read that Ezra Lazarus poem at the base of the Statue of Liberty, there is very much
Hmm.
this "Bring to me your tempest tossed." The refuse of other countries, those that were starving from famine or oppressed by other things. Like
Hmm.
there was this huge welcome, and we lost that a little bit. So I think if when we're tapping into that, we're tapping into something that is innately American. We're tapping into something that is innately human. Uh,
Hmm.
and we are, in many ways, I think, following scripture and sort of, our own Savior's invitation to sort of say, hey, I would recommend doing this. I would recommend loving your neighbor. If you want to
Yeah.
understand the way I built the world, I have
Hmm.
wired you for this. And somehow in business, we've lost our way. And I think we've made excuses or justifications for why not to do that. I don't think you have to.
Yeah.
So we're just a tiny little company, but we have an opportunity to stand on a world sort of stage in this dining arena, and sort of to, in a maybe a provocative way, test the very boundaries of what business can do.
Hmm.
We do that with our mission statement. We do that in many ways, and that's what I want Canlis to do. I want it to be um, like a hypothesis lived out. How far can we take this inside of business? And
Yeah.
um, it's not just about, you know, kumbaya around the campfire and making people feel good. That's fun to do. It doesn't work in business. You actually have to, there are rules to the game of business. You actually have
Yeah.
to like turn a profit and invest that back into the company. But I think I think the strategy for winning that has everything to do with care of people. And,
Hmm.
and that's what we're really exploring at Canlis. Like what could that look like at a very personal level, at a very high level?
Hmm. You talk about warmth and generosity and turning towards people. Fine dining isn't always known for that. Kind of the warmth. Sometimes it can be a little
It's kind of funny,
stuffy.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. How do you balance the, I don't know if there's a formality to it, but expectations. I think someone said it's one of the Canlis is one of the few restaurants in a town of like Tivas and outdoor wear that you put on your suit and tie for.
Sure.
So, yeah, how do you guys balance that?
You know, it's funny. The dress code gets brought up a lot. And I think we might be the last restaurant on planet Earth to actually invite people to dress up in that way. But there is something interesting that happens when you sort of show care for others with the way you look. It's one
Hmm.
way to think about that. And um, we're pretty loose with specifically what we want people to wear, but there is an invitation that says, "Hey, tonight matters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool if everyone feels that way in the room. And it's really cool to show respect even to the strangers around you.
Yeah.
Like watch what happens when this happens. And you'll see it like at a wedding, or you see it at a
Mm-hmm.
funeral. You see these big events where we're sort of reminded in our head, like, oh man, I should dress up for this. And I think what's lost on the dining room floor, and thank you to the media who helped promote restaurants, they actually helped hurt them because they turned it into about food.
Yeah.
They turned it into about ingredients. They turned it into about techniques, and all of that is very important. It's central to what we do. It's you're there to eat 100%, but that is not why you came. You could have eaten anywhere.
Yeah.
You could have ordered takeout. You came because tonight needs to matter. And you're sort of using the restaurant to hallmark the evening. You're using the restaurant to create a memory, using the restaurant to help safeguard something that is very important to you. This is my daughter's only 18th birthday. There will never be another one. And I kind of want this restaurant to help us hallmark it, make it special, turn it into something that I can remember and hold on to, celebrate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the last night before we have a C-section tomorrow, and we're parents, and tonight we're not. And this is sort of, it's the passing of time. This is the last time I get to have Christmas dinner with my grandma because she's struggling with cancer. This is the last, right? So that's what a restaurant is doing. It's helping sort of pause and push the normal world out there for a second and hollow out a really special thing, a few hours at a table. That restaurant is putting up a hedge and allowing you to pause. That's what's happening. And so in doing so, we sort of say, hey, this little moment is sacred. You're not going to get it back. Right. And we're going to put our best in front of you. I comfortable clothes at home, a suit at work.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to distract from you or take from you in any way the sacredness of the moment you brought me. Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of inviting the guest, hey, this is going to be fun. Do it for the table next to you. Do it for the table across from you. Do it for your wife. Yeah. Trust me. She won't mind that you took the time to dress up tonight. Like, and by the way, guys, in case you missed it, she already did that for you most likely. So tune in a little bit, right? Like, also it doesn't hurt to look sexy. Like, it's just like, watch what happens. Like, you're going to let yourself, and so, like, you're going to like what happens. So it's that invitation to sort of be like, tonight's a little bit different than the average night. So treat it sacred. Just give it the respect that it's due. And I think, we move so quickly through sort of our day and through our planet a little bit. Fine dining, when it's done really well, is an invitation to slow down and to pause and to see the person across from you and to rest in the presence of them, to slow down and ask a question, to slow down and listen to the long answer, to slow down and make space for the process of celebration or grief. That's what we're doing. We're saying, let me turn all of who I am, my attention, my presence, my curiosity, my delight, let me turn that on you. Let me turn that towards you and see what happens. All fine dining is doing is creating a space for that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's gorgeous. And it sounds very much like what you've said in other places and even here of like you as Mark Canlis are turning toward your guests coming in to your restaurant, and you're giving space for them to be able to turn towards one another as well.
Yeah.
And that's really beautiful.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Like last night, these people were like, they were getting up and leaving. And this woman pulls me aside. We're standing right in the middle of the dining room, people everywhere. And she goes, "This was the best night ever. Thank you so much." And I was like, I didn't make it special. Because I knew they had brought in longtime friends that they hadn't been with you. And I'm like, it was special because of who you brought to dinner. We just provided a space for it. And she looked, she's a little bit older than me. And she knew I was right. And there was this look in her eye that said, "Oh, thanks for recognizing that." I'm not saying the food wasn't awesome. It was. I'm not saying the view wasn't awesome. They were sitting on
Yep.
the window overlooking the lake, and the mountains. Seattle's just like
It's
aglow.
amazing. Yeah.
Like, yes. And also, what made that night separate from other nights is that the four of them were together in a way that they hadn't been for years.
Yeah.
And that's sacred. We don't get
Yeah.
that back.
Mm-hmm. Bourdain says it's meals make society, and it's rarely what we're eating, but it's who we're eating with.
Totally.
And I love that. I love that quote. You guys, you don't just extend hospitality to your guests, though, and you're particular about calling them guests, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you do it for your employees as well,
Yes.
and
That's
how
true.
you treat them. I think I talked to Kendall Vanderslice, who's a theologian and baker in Durham, North Carolina, and she has restaurant experience. I have restaurant experience. I had very good restaurant experience. Thankfully, I was treated well. But the industry is not always known for that. How do you guys keep
why
that
not?
at the forefront? I don't know. I mean, we can say the same about the church as well.
Sure.
So it's not exclusive to the restaurant industry. So
any organization,
yeah.
any industry, we could say the same. And I think it's worth exploring what happened. Hey, where off? What happened here? Restaurant industry suffers from the highest rates of suicide, addiction, and depression of any industry in America. If there's one that beats it every once in a while, depending on the year, it's mining. That'd be like,
yeah.
I've never done it, but I imagine you're like deep into the earth. Yeah, it sounds hard. It sounds really hard. So, I think that if we are gonna practice hospitality, it has to start in concentric circles out. So some of that looks like self-care. It looks like practicing it in your marriage. It looks like figuring out how to practice it with your children. Then it looks like figuring out how to practice it with your staff. And then it looks like figuring out how to take care of your guest or your customer. And if we're not doing it in that order, there's hypocrisy built into it. Said differently, we're selling ourselves in a way. We're selling our presence. We're selling our service. We're selling our hospitality for a means to an end. We're not living it out. And so the goal here is to live it out first and see what happens. You wouldn't want to sell the truth cheaply. You wouldn't want to exchange what you have just to turn a buck. I think the idea here is to live it out and see what happens. And so that mandate means we've got to be practicing it with our staff in radical and creative ways. If you're not doing that, I would just ask the question, why not? Like, why do you think that and even more so, wow, it's quite an ask to say, I want you to treat the guests like the King of Spain, and I'm going to treat you like a second-class citizen. Yeah. I don't know an employee who would sign up for that if the owner was honest about the arrangement. And so I think a lot of times what you're getting is dishonesty early on in the hiring process, or there's this sort of using of an employee as a means to an end. And I don't know a human on the planet likes to be used. It's just not not in our nature. And so the question is, how do we not use our employees? How do we be stewards of the time that we get with them? How are we growing them? How are we nurturing their flourishing? How are we investing in who they're becoming and paying attention more to that than to what they're doing, as if what they did mattered as much as who they were becoming. And so in our restaurant, that is the operative question. It's the question I'm asking in an interview. Who do you hope to become while you're working here? Because you're working here. Not in spite of your job, but because of your job. What are those character traits that you were craving? What does this next season mean for you? And how does Canlis play a role in that season? That's a hiring question. And if you're not asking that question in the hiring process, there's a strong case to be made you might be taking advantage of your team, of your people. So I think we have to start with that question is, what will happen to you because you work here? And will you like yourself better? Second question, will your mother like you better?
Yeah.
Like, will your spouse, will your children, like, what kind of human being, right? Because if you just ostensibly said, oh man, I think because I work at Canlis, I'm going to turn into a monster. And I said, yeah, don't worry about that. You should work here anyway. I really like you. You know, wow, that's terrifying.
You're right.
And if we're honest, that's happening a lot. So I need to be asking the question, will you become the kind of person that you always hope to become because you work for us? And if not, I can't recommend you take the job here.
Yeah.
And
how does that change your culture internally?
Everything is the answer to the question. And I don't think you can ever accomplish really the kind of company culture that you want without that question. I think you're just putting lipstick on a pig. Like you are literally just throwing benefits at employees, trying to persuade them to stick around when really they or you know that it's not good for them. So all hiring, or said differently, all relationship needs to start with that. And if we pretend that hiring is outside of the rules of relationship, we are lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't start a dating relationship with, hey, I know this isn't good for you, but it's good for me. Let's go. The dating relationship starts with, does this work for you? Does it work? You know what I'm saying? And I think hiring is very similar in that way. It's like, I want to be in a relationship with you if this is good for you, and vice versa. Not a version of you that you're pretending to be so you can get the job or you can get the second date, but the truest version of you, the version where you actually see the truth about you and where I actually see the truth about you. And in seeing the truth about you, I still choose to accept you. That's what we all crave, to be known, loved, way. And our staff are the same way. So if we know that to be true about people and we're not doing it in building a company, building a team, hiring a staff, I would ask the question, why not?
Yeah. So you're hiring on relationships, and your newest chef, James, you hired from within. Is that correct?
Yeah, and he's a champion of this concept. He worked for us for 8 years. He was a line cook and a sous chef and an executive sous chef, and we sort of searched all over the world. And at the end of the day, he was the guy that won the job. And so, really excited to have him on board. And what I'm looking for in a chef is someone who gets this with people. And you're seeing this more and more in the industry. It's why you see so many restaurants closing. It's why you see so many restaurants sort of like trying to pivot and change, is that for a long time, our industry failed our own staff in pursuit of winning the guest. Yeah. And, or winning the dollar, if you will, or winning the media. And that burned out people. And now people don't want to work in restaurants, and I don't blame them. Yeah. I wouldn't want to work in that restaurant either.
Right. Yeah. You said that last time I talked to you that hospitality is being at war with Satan.
With fear. Then that led to a conversation about Satan. Hospitality is at war with fear. It's always at war with fear. If we're trying to understand what's happening in the world of hospitality, as to say, let's look at it differently. What's keeping you from offering hospitality? I would say the thing keeping me from it is fear. Fear of loss of self, fear of loss of comfort, fear of loss of control. Those are the things, when we look at hospitality, ancient hospitality, when we go back to the word hospitality, you are making space for a stranger, right? Hospitality is not like drinking rosé on the porch. That's just hanging out with friends. It has nothing to do with, but hospitality was opening yourself up to otherness, strangeness. It literally comes from a time before hotels when travelers are knocking on doors saying, can I stay here? I'm out of food. I'm out of water. I'm out of daylight. I'm out of safety. I am out of my ability to control my own circumstances. This is the beginning of hospitality. here comes the knock on the door. I need you, the stranger, to help me. Okay. And if it's our door that's being knocked on, we open the door up and we see this stranger. And who was this person? They were a traveler, so they're not from your town.
Yep.
They're not from your tribe. They may not be from your nation. They are an other to you. Mm. They probably didn't vote in the last election because there probably wasn't an election.
Yeah.
They're probably not in your town for vacation. They're probably in here because there was war or famine or trouble or hardship, or for some reason they had to travel and leave their safe place and get on the road. And now they're on your doorstep asking you for favor. What keeps you from letting them in? Fear.
Yeah.
Always. Oh, let's see. If I let you in and I feed you, maybe I don't have enough food to feed my own children. If I let you in, I take your vulnerability and exchange it for mine. It's not safe to let you in. You're a stranger. I don't know if you're, what you're going to, right? So that's what we're doing is we're saying, I see your vulnerability, and I'm going to take some of my safety, some of my power and authority, some of my surplus, and I'm going to fill the gap in your vulnerability.
Yeah.
That will cost you something.
Yep.
And most of us are afraid to pay the cost.
Yeah.
Fear is what hospitality is at war with.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not recognizing that, we're never really going to be prepared to fully go there with hospitality.
Yeah.
You got to recognize how big the fight is, or you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. Right. And in hospitality, you are going all the way there. So get ready is what I tell myself.
Yeah. I always play against the two Greek words that we have, philoxenia, which is hospitality, which is the familial love of a stranger. And you have familial love and you meet a stranger. And the opposite is the xenophobia, which the stranger part of the word comes first, and then the fear. Yeah. And you kind of have a choice to be able to make. Am I going to meet the person with love, or am I going to just meet the person and have fear coming
love
out of
stranger,
that?
Fear stranger. And I would even take stranger out, and I would say otherness.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say difference. Yep. I would say that guy on the internet that you don't like, that one that voted differently, that person who holds a different view of you politically, that person who interprets scripture a different way than you do, that person who thinks differently about every hot button.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, because there are no longer travelers knocking on your door from other lands. Yep. So that time is mostly done. Mm-hmm. So for the person listening to this who's like, well, I don't have travelers knocking on my door and I don't run a restaurant, so I'm good. I'd say nope. What we're talking about is fear of difference or otherness. And the invitation that I hear is, what does it look like when you turn towards that? What does it look like when you care for that? Yeah. What does it look like when you do your version of fine dining for that person? Go all out. Put everything in. Be as considered as you possibly can. Make space for that and see what happens.
Yeah.
Ultimately, hospitality is considering the viewpoint of another as valuable as your own. Isn't that what we see Jesus doing over and over and over and over and over again?
Yeah.
He's practicing a radical version of hospitality that today we just sort of check out of and be like, yeah, I don't have to do that. I'll stick with my tribe things. I don't see the scriptures saying stick with your tribe things. So in our restaurant, we're just trying to see, all right, how far can we take this thing?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
You guys played a lot during COVID, and you said you kind of had a playing field that you said, as long as we stay within this, we'll make money, maybe not as much as we could. But you played a lot. You had a tiki bar and a crab shack and a drive-in movie theater, and then you also supported farmers and you gave food away, and that's not what we usually see.
Why not? Why don't we see it?
Tell me. I don't know. Tell me why you guys chose to do that.
I'll tell you why you don't see it.
Yeah.
fear of loss of money,
Mm-hmm.
fear of loss of control. If I do this, maybe I lose my business.
Mm-hmm.
If I do this, maybe I'm not, and here comes all the Christian speak, being a good steward of what I've been given.
Yeah. Mm.
So we're going to justify away danger or vulnerability for safety. I'm being a good steward. I would just say, like, I don't know. It's a pandemic. Maybe it's not the best time for making money. Maybe it's a time for turning towards a stranger. Maybe it's a time for radically thinking about what hospitality could look like. So yeah, we had to shut down. Seattle was got this
Ground
thing
zero.
obviously, we had a lot of laws saying you can't operate as a business. We have 125 employees and 33 tables, so we're a model of inefficiency, and there's a lot of people in one tiny room. So it was very obvious that we can't be what we are as a company. But that doesn't mean we can't be on mission.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping Canlis in a pandemic from being on mission, from inspiring people to turn toward one another. I don't need a restaurant to do that.
Yeah.
And so in the pandemic, since the pandemic took our fine dining restaurant away, we were free to play, as you say.
Yeah.
We were like, gosh, the business model is already broken. So you can't screw up any further. We were closed for 471 days. So to me, turning towards looked like, oh, how do I keep my staff employed? They're going to need jobs. They're going to need healthcare. And then how do we inspire a city and eventually a nation, if we can, to sort of think creatively about the freedom we actually have within the confines of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So we did. We opened 18 different businesses. We used half of those as fundraisers. We set as a goal of the company to break even in those 471 days of being closed and to not lay anyone off. We didn't until our staff asked to be laid off because you could get better life through our government. Whoever's in charge, just throwing money around everywhere. Okay. So we laid our staff off for about 10 weeks, and we opened a community college and used that as a fundraiser. So in the end, it was actually an incredible time for our company and for our staff. And I think what it taught us was how much freedom we have even inside the confines of a whole new world in a certain sense. All playing this game of like, wow, what are even the rules of business? Or what are the rules of society? How close can I get to you? It was a goofy time, a scary time, a weird time. The whole thing was a little upside down. And also I think a time to model what turning towards looks like. And it's a gift given to our company to get to do that.
Yeah, especially in a time that was racked by fear of what it would actually be like to turn towards other people.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah,
weird, right?
That on its head. Yeah. But your mission statement seems to really drive, like, obviously all of what you do, but even when the business model has to change, the mission didn't change in that, and I feel like that goes to identity. And you've talked about how your identity plays a role in your hospitality and how you're able to extend that to one another as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest fights that any of us are working through are identity issues. And by that, I'm not talking about like how we identify male, female, or sexually or any of that sort of like modern identity stuff, the conversation that quickly goes there. I think I'm talking about, do you recognize that you are loved by God? Do you accept that? Do you allow that to matter in your life, in the way you see yourself, or not? And most of us are right there. And that is the beginning of all this work. What would happen if you really believe that? What would happen if I really believe that? What would be different today about the way that I approach the world? And our own sort of work in that space frees us from fear. Yeah. So again, when we talk about hospitality being at war with fear, what we're doing is saying, okay, what is keeping us afraid? And recognizing, oh, maybe what's keeping me afraid is I'm not fully accepting what God has told me to be true about myself, about himself. And if I fully accept that, then maybe I am free to turn towards. I am free to be present with. Said differently, I'm free to be known by my staff as imperfect, as not having the answers, as not knowing what to do in a pandemic. I'm free to be seen as human, the way that God created me, and still said it was good, in spite of the ways I might have shortcomings. I am free to be filled with the indwelling Spirit, and also kind of a hot mess on the side, right? And so how do we hold these two things? If I can understand that about myself, how much more space can I make for you?
Yeah.
When we run a restaurant, we are in that space. That's what leadership is. My work is with the 125 staff to say, maybe you're more loved than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And if you just had a shred of understanding of how loved you are, you can't imagine how powerful a force you'd be in the universe here on planet Earth.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing in restaurants.
Yeah.
We're sort of saying, ooh, I think we're loved. And if we're loved, man, if we've been filled up in this way, if we sit at a feast constantly, and then someone knocks on our door and says, I'm hungry, you're like, come on in. Yeah. Let's go. Let's eat. You have no idea how much bounty is here waiting for you. By the way, God is constantly saying that to us. He's like, man, I've like made this universe and I'm inviting you to this feast. And we're like, yeah, no, thanks. Yeah. I'm going to sit down here and just be fearful of, right. Yeah. If we can understand that, then we have so much to offer. And I think, particularly in business, we script away the truth of that. We use businessy terms to sort of deny ourselves the freedom to live in that truth. I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to figure out how we can not do that even in business. And it's tricky. We are not an openly Christian company. We do not only hire people of the same faith. We are very open and turning towards people of all different beliefs. But what's fascinating here is we say the values of our company are to be trustworthy and generous and other-centered. You could take the word love and break it down into those three things. You do pretty well. And when I'm asking an employee is, do you want to be that? Because I want to be that. So I hope because I work at Canlis, I'm becoming more of that. And if you want to become more of that, hop in, come along for the ride. And it's amazing how many people of differing backgrounds and beliefs will say, I absolutely want to be more of that. I'm like, oh, cool. Me too. You and me are more alike than you think we are. Yeah. That's the journey that we're on.
How does it reframe it, like you placing yourself in, like on that journey, in that process as well? You said me too, like 5 times right there, as far as like, I want to become what I've said we are about as well. How does that change the conversation?
It's a conversation we're having in pre-shift meals. I was listening to some guy on the internet who was like, he's like a consultant for hospitality. And he's like, I've never been to a restaurant that does the pre-shift meeting right. And I wanted to write him. I don't know how to use Instagram, but like I wanted to like message him and be like, bro, you're eating at the wrong restaurants. So in our pre-shift meeting, that's what we're discussing. I'm standing up there saying, hey, the version you saw of me yesterday that was frustrated and kind of short-tempered was me acting out of fear of being known as a failure, and I am embarrassed about that. But I want you guys to know that today I'm hoping for a different version of myself, and I'm gonna need you to help me get there. Hey, has anyone ever been there? You know, hands go up. Hey, cool. This is who we are as a staff. 6 minutes for 165 people show up. Why don't we just dwell in that space a little bit? Because I feel like if we spend time, like I don't need to tell them the special. We don't even have specials. We need to tell them like, this is how many people are coming and where we're going to seat this. They know how to run a restaurant. If I feel like as an organization, if you want to get good, if you want your team to actually function as a team, you have to make space for them to be known and to know. In order for that to happen, we as leaders have to have the courage to do that. So that's what we're doing in pre-shift meetings. That's what we're doing in operations meetings. That's what we're doing in strategic team meetings. We dwell in that space, and it is slow and messy and expensive. And also, when someone wonders, hey, how did your fine dining restaurant make it for 75 years? I would say start there.
Yeah.
Because in restaurant years, the restaurants are like dog years. It's like times 7 or something. So
Yeah.
like, traditionally restaurants don't last that long. And I would just say, I think they can, or maybe ours did, because we spent a lot of time sort of on the people-y stuff. We spent a lot of time in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way it works.
You've talked about relational, hospitality is relational over transactional, and it's how you guys function in your restaurant. You've talked about trust being the currency of relationships, and to be trusted means to be vulnerable.
You took good notes. All that from the airport conversation?
No,
awesome.
we've talked before, so I did go back and listen to my conversation before. And you say cultivating play is how you get that vulnerability, but it sounds like the vulnerability runs through what you do, even in the pre-shift. And it just, I've been a part of restaurants where we don't have that. I've been in churches where we don't have that. And I'm just going, it fully changes the conversation, because if we present ourselves as people that have it all together, then we don't have need of a savior in our lives, or someone giving us our identity that is broken and in need of saving. And if we present ourselves that way, then we're asking everyone else to present themselves that way.
It's a false setup from the get-go. It's a complete setup. And we all, and I don't know about you, but I fall into that trap about every other Tuesday. So, I think the invitation in play, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's an easy way into vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
So in play, we are allowing ourselves to be seen. In play, we're allowing ourselves to be, in an awkward situation. We're allowing ourselves to be confined by a false set of rules. Like I love the game of soccer, but in real life, you actually can go outside of the rectangle.
Yeah.
It's 90 minutes. We're going to play a game where you stay in the rectangle. In real life, you can touch things with your hands, but for this game, we're gonna play a game where you can't touch with your hands, right?
Yeah.
So it's a false setup. And so in play, we sort of say, hey, let's play a game where we have a certain set of rules. Maybe it's a board game and you have to rhyme everything. Right? I can't remember how apples to apples works, but there are these things where, and then because of the rules, funny things happen, and we get seen as ridiculous, and the game is the excuse. But play Chubby Bunny, and try. So why is it funny? It's because you're trying to hear somebody speak with marshmallows in their mouth. Okay. Right. You wouldn't speak that way normally in public, but Chubby Bunny is an excuse to sound silly. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's that idea. And so as a company or as a family, play is an invitation to practice vulnerability.
Yeah.
Laughter, vulnerable. Losing, a card game, vulnerable. So we're practicing laughter. We're practicing loss. We're practicing all of these things that actually play really well in relationship.
Yeah.
And business is just about relationship, right?
Yeah.
So if we're going to be in business, we need to get really good at relationship. Play is a way into that. So we spend a ton of time at the company playing.
Yeah.
It's an important tool. It's an important training tool.
Yeah, absolutely. How does food and drink, or let me rephrase that, why does food and drink, or the table, when we sit down together, play into the vulnerability? Why is it central to hospitality? So often we just kind of conflate the two, and we don't talk about that hospitality can be more than that, but it seems so central to it as well.
Well, we're not boa constrictors.
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
You don't eat a deer, and then digest for 3 months. So wonderfully, we were, I don't know if boa eat deer, but wonderfully, we get hungry every few hours.
Yeah.
To me, that's a reminder of our humanity.
Yeah.
I don't understand the way we were created, but there's something in this sort of the need for water constantly, the need for food constantly. It's a reminder of how temporal, how insufficient in a certain sense we are for our own sustenance. We are constantly in need of self-care in that way. And if you just go back to the beginning of cooking, it was just way easier in community. You start the fire, I'll go find a saber-toothed tiger to hunt, right? And so like we are invited into community. We're invited to break bread. We are literally invited into shared vulnerability. I'm hungry again. I'm hungry again. Great, let's eat together. There is great relationship built out of shared vulnerability. So I'm allowing you to see me hungry or hangry and vice versa. And I'm dependent on you to go out and find food, and you're dependent on me to like cook it. So there's something magic in the way that we were created in that way. And it's ancient. And I don't know a person on the planet that doesn't connect to it. When we eat together, when we break bread together. I also think there's something magic in shared drink. And if you ever read Henry Nouwen, he's got this beautiful book, Can You Drink the Cup? And in it, he describes this sort of raising of the glass. And I got a mug here with a little bit of tea left in it. And if this was a wine glass and you were the host and you poured me some wine, you fill it up. I don't know, however much you fill it up. But when we raise the glass, we're sort of saying, we're not saying, look at my full cup to the brim. You're saying, look at my cup, and it's only about half full. So I'm embracing what I've been given, and I'm also embracing what I've not been given. And when we eat at the table, we're doing that. We're saying, look at what the Creator has given me. Look at what life has thrown me. Look at what hasn't been given to me. I am this. And you are raising your glass saying, and I am this. And I'm saying, and it is okay, let it be. And you're saying, yes, it is. And I'm saying, praise God. And you're saying, let's eat. That's what's happening at the table. It is deeply ancient, deeply rooted in our createdness. And there's something about it I don't get. So it's super cool to be in restaurants, try to explore it. But I think when we break bread together, when we drink together, we're saying, man, look at me. This is what I have, and I accept what I am, and I accept what I am not. And you're like, yeah, Mark, I accept you for what you are, and I accept you for what you're not. And I need you to see me and accept me in that way. By the way, God is saying that to us. So in a certain sense, we are recreating what God has created. Mark, I made you this way. I gave you these strengths. I gave you these weaknesses. And I called it good. And I'm like, okay. I don't get that. So I'm going to break bread with Mark over here to remind myself what that's all about. Because I'm just upside down again. I don't know if that answers your question.
Absolutely,
but, instructors, we got to keep doing this, once, twice, 3 times a day if we're lucky. And
again, as you said, it's some vulnerability that's built in, and for us to do and share that vulnerability with one another is really. It's as you said, I think it's very mysterious it's communion. It's the common sharing. It's the coming together. It's giving up something that I have to be able to host you, and giving up your, safety and comfort and control as well to sit down at the table. There's knives. We could cut each other very quickly at the table. It's a dangerous place to be.
Let there be many knives. There's knives and alcohol and fire.
Exactly.
Things could go very wrong.
It could be a problem. But it's really beautiful when it comes together. I think I want to turn just in our last few minutes here and say, from your perspective, as a restaurateur, as someone who has lived into the exploration of hospitality, what are some of the things that the church, both institutionally, individually, when we function out of our own homes as Christians, or when we come together, what are some of the practices that the church could, maybe should, take up in hospitality?
Cheapers. You're going to end on that easy one?
I was building up.
Yeah. What are they? Let's see. I would ask the question as a church, what's keeping us from the freedom that has been modeled for us by Jesus? What's keeping us from the aliveness that comes from the Holy Spirit? What's keeping us from saying yes to the yearning of our soul? Ask yourself, be suspicious of, church, the thing keeping you from. When that stranger, metaphorically, is knocking on my door, my brain does this. It says, Mark, don't let this person in. My brain does the ROI, the return on investment. It knows instantly. They have nothing to offer you. You have nothing to gain. You risk so much. My brain wants to say to the person, hey, sorry for your situation, but you should just go down the street and knock on my neighbor's door. He's probably more prepared to take care of you. Okay. My heart longs to let him in. My heart longs for the courage to be the kind of person that says, oh man, I've been where you've been.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that I am one lucky break away from being in a vulnerable situation like you are. I long for the courage to let that person in and see what happens. I long for that courage. And I think as a church, we can ask ourselves the question, what do you long for the courage to do? And what's keeping you from doing it? And I bet the answer is not scripture.
No.
I bet the answer is not, well, this Bible verse is keeping me from the thing the Holy Spirit has called within my soul. Yeah, I doubt that's what we're going to find. So I think communally or corporately as a church, we have a lot of freedom and space to say, what has the Spirit placed inside of us and what's keeping us from doing that thing? Yeah. In business, nothing. Harvard Business School did a case study on what you were talking about, Canlis's response to the pandemic. And every year I get to go out and be a part of this class and teach it. And professor stands up, and Ryan Boyle, and he says, did Canlis screw up? Can you do this as a company? And half the class is like, no, that's ridiculous. And the other half, like, yes, you can. And right there you can see, societally, we disagree on whether or not this is okay.
Yeah.
In the church, we disagree on whether or not this is okay. And I think there's a big invitation for us to sit and dwell in the space of not knowing. Listen to our gut instinct when that stranger knocks on the door. And say, what kind of person do you hear God calling you to be? I'd long for the courage to open up and turn towards and to allow in and to acknowledge what I've been given by God and have the courage to give it away.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate your time. I'm grateful for God's providence of putting me at the wrong gate and you heading to Single Thread for the evening and being able to have this conversation with you again. It's a huge blessing. I'm very grateful for what you guys do in your restaurant, what your family does in championing hospitality in our country and in the time and culture that we're in. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. This has been Feast Days, Conversations on Hospitality and Feasting in the Church. It is a podcast production from The Table Project. I'm your host, Mark Grappengater. This episode has been produced by me as well, Mark Grappengater. To find out more about The Table Project, find us online at thetabledenver.org. If you have questions or comments or know someone who should be a part of these conversations, please email us at hello@thetabledenver.org. A good way to stay a part of these conversations is to subscribe wherever you listen and follow us on Substack at thetableproject.substack.com. May you find yourself at the table of God's grace and invite others to join you there as well. Grace and peace.